button is pressed. The thing is live? Question mark.
Amazing.
The thing is live! Exclamation point. The thing is live. Period. The thing is live, semicolon. Now we all shall truly suffer.
All right, it is live. I'm doing the promotional thing I need to do.
So hey, let's pre-stream a little Auto Pets. I have not really played this week. What are we looking at here? Should probably have looked at this before jumping in. Okay. Stuff that triggers on other pets transforming. And there's some transforming. And there's some like feeding and food perk stuff. Wow, yeah, cornflakes. You got in here fast.
Hello, cornflakes.
And transforming and mana and stuff. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of through lines. Farmer Mouse is a good friend. And also Farmer Mouse is a good friend. And a chinchilla is kind of a garbage whatever friend, but it sells back to the shop pretty well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the pre-stream. We're gonna be the Bright Sausages today. There's no SB team name available, but we can get
the famous reverse SB.
Yeah.
The BS. The chills are pretty good.
Look at that. So the farmer mouse when it dies, it passes back +1 to the stats of the lowest pet or the lowest stat of the pet behind it. So that does it's got some utility. I'm gonna combine 2 of these. So we'll get 3 farmer mice out here. All right. I mean, this is gonna be a pretty good thing math-wise. We have no real like abilities or anything, but just our numbers are good. Yeah, look at this. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Well, we lose.
Oh.
Turns out having some meaningful abilities is good. That's what we call those strats. All right, so let's level up a pet or not. This game's struggling. So we get shown something cool from the next the next tier. The mole is pretty good. What is food support for perks right now? Radish, honey, okay. We can try to make a mole work. So the mole is a pretty unassuming pet by itself, but when it faints, if you can remove 2 friendly perks, then it resummons a large and impressive creature. So we just gotta accumulate some perks here. Like this radish, perhaps. What exactly will this do? That's a great question. The most important thing is it's a perk. And then we're going to just hold some stuff. We're going to have a not very good battle here. Yeah, the fairy dust will be fine. Yeah, we're going to have one not very good battle here where we kind of don't have our new gimmick online. Okay, but we do just have enough like raw beef to sort of force through the draw. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll continue leveling you up. We'll start tagging you guys together. Okay, so these perks probably don't matter because the idea is they're going to get consumed when the mole dies anyway.
Right.
One of the themes running through this set of pets that I noticed very quickly is that there's a lot of mana going on. When a pet that has mana dies, it basically like shoots a magic spell at a pet on the other team and does damage equal to the mana that it had. And then also, there's a bunch of pets that interact with mana in various ways. Um, got a fur-bearing trout here who gives a rambutan to the nearest friend behind when it faints. That's interesting. So there's
Man, I haven't had a rambutan in a long time. I don't think you would like it.
no.
It shares many similarities with fruits that you don't usually care for.
Okay. So they just had an 8-8 on that team. That's not strategy, but it's very difficult to deal with an 8-8. It's a move that I would describe as strategy adjacent.
People coming into the chat got Krobzik, and then Robin Bennis is here to be supportive and nurturing. Are you feeling okay, Robin?
It's an interesting change of pace. Your ability deals bonus damage. I think I'm just like throwing perks on all of our pets here. Because this will trigger repeatedly when the mole summons a new creature. That creature is a mole and has this ability. So if you have 4 perks on your team, you can
That's pretty good. Yeah.
you can potentially fire it twice. Wow, that guy's got a lot of mana. Ah, the fucking rambutan. Man. So welcome to the pre-stream, everybody. We're just playing a little super auto pets here. I'm kind of thinking maybe we should get some of this fur-bearing trout nonsense going on. Right? It's pretty good,
Yeah.
it seems like. And the manatee deals damage to itself to give permanent stat boosts to the pet above it, but it's going to kill itself this turn. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just sell it off, and we'll throw a perk on there, and yeah, look at that. We'll have a level 2 fur-bearing trout next turn, which okay, it doesn't have some better thing to pass on. It just gives the rambutan to more pets behind, which is kind of interesting.
So Robin is describing a drinking game for our blueprints videos, which you and I don't drink, so I don't know how. I guess you just she says she takes a shot every time Amabel is on the right track of a puzzle or secret, but SB uses logic and reason to convince her that can't be right.
I can't. Please be careful. You know, don't play a drinking game that will cause you to die. We'll play it while watching our videos. I guess it's the only thing.
Shot every time SB takes a den.
Is the only thing I will say. I don't really have a strategy here. I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
What if the fur-bearing trout got really big? Is my strat right now?
That dog is a skeleton.
Yeah, sometimes the dog is skeletal. I mean, the mole thing's working really well, right? The mole, even at level 1, for the early part of the game, the creature that the mole creates when it dies, if you fire off its ability, is quite large. And if you can do it twice, just like a pair of 6/6s is more than a lot of teams can handle. You don't need strats if you have just raw numbers, just raw value. Ooh, Panther. Perks are 2 times stronger on this in battle. That's kind of neat. Yeah, Panther will grow up real strong. I think what I'm going to do here at this point is I'm going to sell the chinchilla. The chinchilla is just kind of a nothing pet. We bought it early on because, just like body. But when you sell a chinchilla, you then immediately summon a loyal chinchilla of the same level that you can also just, it just sells back twice, basically. Which can be awfully handy. So we're going to put a cool panther down on the team, and then I guess give it a kind of a do-nothing perk, just so it has a perk for the mole to consume. If we can level up our mole, it will double the strength of the mole that is summoned on faint.
Okay.
I think that would be very good. So yeah, you can see there's some gimmicks and stuff going on with these teams, but not a lot of just like raw size at this point. Although this guy's managed to make it up to 1914 post, what do you call it? Post beginning of combat somehow. He gained a lot of health. We still almost got through it. All right, so when a friend is summoned, give it 3 attack and 4 mana, and also spooked. Spooked gives causes you to take 1 bonus damage when attacked. But it's kind of interesting as a way to like try to trade the moles more effectively. So we're just replacing these kind of like low-level do-nothing pets slowly with pets that have a little bit more gas. And we're definitely going to just level up our mole. This pet's mana damage hits the most healthy enemy and 1 extra enemy. That's kind of neat. Or we can pick up this spooky winter spirit and just have a ton of mana. You know what? I think we're going to lean in that direction. I'm going to lock up a bunch of these. Check it out. It's a Kakapo.
Oh, Kakapo is like one of your favorite things ever.
It is. It is a delightful creature. It is perhaps the finest creature on this earth. Although, you know, obviously there's a lot to be said about Ratus. Yeah, I think the plan is probably going to end up being... I'm probably going to unload the Thunderbird then in exchange for the Winter Spirit. And that's like a more modernized team, so we probably don't need to keep this frozen. But, you know, next time when we have money for that.
What is wrong with the name of the Kakapo, Cornflakes?
How dare you?
Delightful creature is a really bad name. I don't.
People are starting to get a little bigger. I'm a little nervous here. Yeah, look at that. The mole with the amalgam backup is just tearing through people's teams here. All right, so let's sell this Thunderbird. Apply this Winter Spirit. Now, I want to make sure that the Rambutan is getting fed to the Panther. Because the Panther gets extra value out of perks. So the Rambutan causing it to gain a bunch of mana before attack is like extra relevant. Yeah, and we'll do this, and we'll do this, so that you have a real perk. Okay. So I want to make sure the fur-bearing trout when it faints is giving the Rambutan to the 2 pets closest behind. I'm going to put the Winter Spirit here because I want the mana cycling as far forward as possible, right? We want the damage earlier in the round if possible. But there we go. So see, it's handing out mana at the beginning of every turn. At the end of every round, I believe your pets lose half of the mana that is on them in the shop. But this ability should just cause, you know, over time, a lot of accumulation. Yep, you can see the Panther there getting multiple charges off of the Rambutan. We're doing a lot of just shooting. We're doing a lot of just shooting mana across the table at the enemies, which I think is a good strategy overall. So now at this point, I kind of like our makeup, honestly. Like I would not be opposed to keeping just these pets running.
Just need to level them up.
Yeah, so mostly we're looking for level ups here, and then like, honestly, a perk. The mole is not currently perked.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I want it to be... Okay, I was curious if we would pull anything else. We should definitely give somebody some bonus XP here. Let's make it you. If we can get to the top level mole, I think that'll be very helpful. So where are we at here? We're pushing into the pretty late game. We're at 2 health and 5 wins. It's not like the optimal spot. Yeah, you can see the moles we're making are huge, and they're doing a lot of damage. Yeah, and see that thing? The panther attacks and dies, and then does 16 additional damage with all of its ridiculous mana. Yeah. So let's. There is also just like stat bonus food. Like I could be pumping up the raw numbers on these pets a little bit. You know, garlic for the mole is not bad because the mole, like, it's gonna naturally get pretty big. Let me see if we can find. Okay, I was kind of hoping we could just find a raw level up for our mole. Another thing we could be doing is trying to refine people's perks into pie. Pie just gives a stat boost right at the beginning of the battle, and then, you know, it's useless after that. But it's still a perk that's just sitting on the pet, so it gets, it can get eaten by the mole. So like on the panther, who is getting 3 times more value from perks, obviously, like putting up some pie. Watch this thing grow at the beginning of the battle, and then it's also going to get the rambutan effect from the fur-bearing trout.
Hello, cat.
Boy, everybody's getting huge now, all of a sudden. Oh, that's a huge bummer. The panther had just 1.2 little attack damage to actually kill that enemy. So then all of its mana went into that enemy, and we did something like 17 over damage to a guy who had 1 health. All right, level up the Winter Spirit, even more mana, and let's pie somebody else. Who else needs the pie? It would be nice if the amalgam would actually survive the amalgamation, because we could, you know, the extra strength on the moles is nice. Okay, yeah, we're generating huge amounts of mana off that Winter Spirit now. I don't know. I don't think this team composition is horrible. There's a lot of damage flying around everywhere. It's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on, and I do apologize for that. What happened there is that the rambutan the fur-bearing trout got killed early by random damage flying back and forth, and so the rambutans got distributed, and then the mole died and consumed them. So the panther didn't have all the bonus mana to do its big counter strike. Well, that's a tricky format because of all the mana and transformations. Like it's going to be very difficult to predict what's going to happen from battle to battle in that one, especially in Arena where you can't see people's rosters ahead of time. But anyway, hey, that's a pre-stream. We're just doing some Super Auto Pets so people could file in to watch me lose and fail at things, to watch me do a terrible job at things and life and stuff. So Amabel, what's today's stream? Oh God, what have I done?
Today you're playing Sifu.
Today I'm gonna try to I'm on a Sifu diet. We're gonna try to play Sifu. So I've never played Sifu before. It was free on the Epic Store like a couple of weeks ago or whatever.
Was that recent? I didn't realize.
But I was in the mood for play something a little more actiony, and I thought we could have a little bit of a conversation about, you know, sort of like modern combat systems and the way that they owe a lot to kung fu movies. And, you know, you and I both have a lot of feelings about kung fu movies and stuff. So let me pull this up here. Let me find the game capture. Let OBS break for no reason. Okay, here we go. I think this should be live. Welcome to Sifu, everybody who isn't Amabel. And now, also, welcome to Sifu Amabel.
Yay!
I think everybody should. Okay, you are
Press any button.
actually loud today. I'm going to turn you down in my OBS.
Oh no.
Or not in my OBS, but you know. No, it's good. Loud is good. I have had to have you at 200 or 200% in Discord for a lot of recordings because you are not doing the loud. It's good. Loud is good. Okay, so to be clear, this right here is where barely visible is barely visible for me. But I know a lot about what OBS does to the gamma levels of recordings and stuff at this point. So I'm going to turn this up until barely visible is barely visible in the OBS preview window, which looks like it's about there. Is that okay for everybody? Can you see the barely visible circle?
I can see the barely visible circle.
Okay. Yes, I love it when subtitles.
Yeah, we've been playing a game recently that the viewers won't see us playing for a few weeks yet, and there are no subtitles, and it's very hey, do subtitles, people.
Well, I mean, it's an older game. It is a game from before the subtitle revolution. Oh boy, this frame rate is a little uneven.
I did have a lot of stuttery stuff while watching you play Auto Pets.
And you just didn't feel like you needed to mention that until just now?
What was that?
Literally, what is your job?
I assumed it was on my end because no one was saying anything about it in the chat, and it seemed to be happening on the YouTube, just on my.
Get out of my way.
Leave him to me.
Okay, so we have light attacks, heavy attacks, triggerable, like animation lock attacks. All right, a universal parry button. It's worth noting we're not getting the sort of... So I was expecting this to be a little bit more Arkham. Parry is omnidirectional.
So why were you expecting it to be just as from the reputation of the game, something you had seen
Because
before?
literally all games where you punch people are Arkham. Any game released in the last 20 years. That's just like it has become the industry standard to a point where it's not even like a question anymore. And I mean it still plays pretty Arkham, but it's a little... I appreciate them giving it a little bit more of their own twist and style. And I like the move to this imperious camera angle once everybody's down. So you get that like shot over your shoulder of all the people that you beat up.
Yeah, it's
Oh boy, the jerkiness in the frame rate. It's real smooth until it's not. You're watching the chat. I'm not. Are people reporting difficulty?
no one's reporting difficulty.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Ah.
I thought you said they'd put up a fight.
Okay, so Kat does say it is very jerky. Yeah. Robin says I report difficulty.
Well, that's not ideal. Let me see how much I can do about that. Thank you, Robin. This isn't really that recent of a game, even. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, I would think.
22, I think. Yeah.
And of course it's not stressing the CPU, and it's not stressing the GPU, and it's not stressing the memory. It's just everything's fine, but it's jerky because it wants to be jerky. Cool. Love it.
Are there like
I'm doing stuff. I'm making moves over here.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Let's. take this in a window, and we'll just cut down the resolution. We'll see how much that helps. I mean, it should help a lot, except for me. It should help me less. Also, for some reason, that makes it display capture funny. Okay,
Does it?
let's try that.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Let's try that. Let's see how that works.
Sweep the place. Nobody leaves.
Sure.
All right, the movement around is a little smoother. Let me know how this reads when the punching starts.
Yeah. Fake Alex Blue says that what I could see of the animations there looked excellent. What melee combat in games often struggle with is how strikes and grabs don't line up in a way that makes sense.
But it's this every time we step outside, it like reloads all the outside shaders, and
Yeah.
we get that moment of like there's a pause, and then it plays 700% of my camera move. Maybe we don't need to walk in and out so much during your intro.
Get him now.
Okay, parry an enemy with a weapon to take his weapon.
Yeah.
It turns out weapons are pretty serious, and you don't want to get hit with one. Oh, can I parkour
Yeah,
the table?
generally.
I can't. Oh, there we go. I found the button.
You should never have come back.
Oh yeah. Well, have you considered?
I'm here to finish what I started.
Get him.
All right. So it's still kind of like the basic, the most basic element of sort of like modern punching game combat is that you have some kind of some kind of omnidirectional parry button. Enemies come at you with very, very telegraphed attacks, and the smart play is almost always to let them come to you, hit the parry, and then strike them off of it.
Okay.
Did that, through the combat there, was that a little bit more, I just completely annihilated that game of Mahjong. Holy shit.
It seemed a little smoother for me. I mean, still, some of it's just the jerkiness of like the motion, the way it feels like the frame rate is different as attacks are being made. A little bit, which maybe just so you can see it. Okay, Cass says it's still plenty hitchy. This is just
Good. Well, maybe we're not playing Sifu today.
okay. That's you mentioned weapons, and I'm not sure if you have a copy of this. Wait, I'll wait till the cutscene's over.
Yang, of course.
You've gotten slow, Sifu. You know why I'm here, don't you? Just step aside.
You were a mistake. I should never have taught you. Now you know too much. By returning here tonight, you've given me a second chance. This time, I will do what I must.
Okay, so a boss you expect to have a little bit more juice. It's not going to be as simple as parry to open, parry to create opening for damage. But, you're going to parry, he's going to parry, and you're going to have to figure out some kind of opening.
Yeah,
Way to
this looks a lot better for me. than it had previously.
Okay.
I think just because I'm just one person there. I don't know.
I have a special move button.
Kiefer does suggest it might help to tone down shaders. I don't know if it's a thing you can do.
The problem is that the bottleneck here actually seems to be OBS. To be clear, the game is running flawlessly except for the Into the Rain hitching on my actual machine.
Okay.
The problem is in the part where it translates across to the internet.
I see nothing.
Gotcha.
But if I take some of the load, if I take some load in the game engine off of the processor, then that'll help a little bit with the OBS issue because OBS is the place that OBS is hanging is processor resources.
Wait, this old dude's kicking your ass.
Yes, he is really taking me apart. I am not. I'm looking at bars on the other monitor instead of parrying correctly. Is a big part of what's happening. But also, I think this man is supposed to be like pretty good at martial arts.
Yeah.
Ow. Also, he keeps punching me in the dick, which is not. It's not. You're not allowed to do it. But like it is. It does feel. I don't know. Poor sportsmanship. Oh, did you see that? I have learned from him to hold my knuckles in a funny way before throwing a punch. At this point, my processor is definitely the oldest part of my rig, and it probably is time for an upgrade.
Show yourself.
We did it. Choose your character, boy or girl. The two genders.
Girl.
We make that the two genders joke so often
That should just be.
that
Yeah.
I am now making it about literally the two genders. See this right here? This is my strategy to lessen the ferocity of the dick punching.
Pretty clever.
Oh, nope. Sorry. I was decapitated as a child. That is going to lessen... Probably people will punch corpses in the dick. Probably almost not at all. I will say also, it is quite warm in this room that I'm in right now.
Father.
And there are some temperature related. I probably also need to clean my computer. But it's
Yeah, it's really warm in there.
processor upgrade time more than anything else.
This is one of the times I'm grateful that my office is in the basement
Yeah.
because it is actually quite cold. And that's nice for the situation we're in.
Boy, his attack is so slow. I'm just trying to get the parry timing here. So there's kind of a couple of things going on with these combat systems.
Okay.
Because you have your Arkham combat, which has these this concept of the omnidirectional parry and you often being surrounded by enemies and watching for strikes from multiple directions at the same time. Cool with that again. Okay. Hold spacebar and S. Look, I'm avoiding the high attack. Boy, that's not that ain't working for shit. It seems like I'm
Guess
just
the
getting a
timing would be real
normal.
tight.
Yeah, it seems like I'm just getting a normal block out of it. So I'm not. I don't know if I'm not just beforing enough. Like, am I hitting it too early? And it definitely doesn't want you to hold through the string. It want, like, I get hit by the last. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, I can just parry the attacks, but I'm not getting whatever special avoid I'm supposed to be getting, I think. Spacebar and S just before being hit. I can really just let this dude have it. I don't ever have to let him swing. Alright, come on. Show me the thing. Yeah, it feels like the way it's worded, I would expect her to, like, duck, right? Maybe it's hold. Okay, maybe it's hold spacebar and, like, tap S just before getting. Maybe the. Ah, okay. It is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really not clear from the way they've worded that.
Yeah.
Right. The way I was reading that was hold spacebar and also hold S, right? Is that? Do you feel like that's intuitive?
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like, you know, while holding spacebar, press S or something, or hold spacebar, press S, tap S.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Or always that could be better.
This is interesting. It's really not terribly Arkham, unfortunately, because that's kind of the thing I wanted to talk about. But as a backup, I do have an Arkham game.
You want to do
so
that?
We can just play with this for a while as long as it's functional.
Now, as far as punching games where you have weapons, I don't know. You probably don't have it, but I would love to watch you play Die Hard.
Die Hard?
The arcade game Die Hard.
Oh, Die Hard Arcade, which
Yeah.
is the title of that video game. So these enemies have a sort of like a stance or poise bar, as it is sometimes known, that we are punching through when we are hitting them normally. And I assume I'm effectively not dealing damage until I you see that the bar at the top there. I assume I'm essentially not dealing damage until I punch through that and get them into this, like, animation lock ability thing here. Yeah, and then once it lets me press X to get them, I'm assuming that's actually hitting them.
So I'm not the one playing this. You are, obviously. Yeah. But the combat feels like it's very precise. Rather than, like...
I don't know that I would say very.
Well... So there are games where you have to, like, very carefully make your attacks and parry and dodge and whatnot. And there are games where you go around doing mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Does this feel like a mayhem game to you? Or... Machete Mustache. That's a great name.
That's the sequel to that Danny Trejo film.
It's a spin-off about his mustache.
Okay. So you can see they basically have just set us up with a pretty standard Kung Fu revenge movie plot. I like this film fine. I've seen, a handful of these. Right, Amabel?
Yeah, you have.
Hey, Amabel, continue the conversation now.
Yeah, I mean, you have. I've seen some films like that. Like revenge plots are very standard for martial arts films. So you and I both enjoy kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I think our preference in kung fu movies are slightly different.
Unlock more outfits.
Like if you had to name a couple of your like favorite kung fu movies, what would you have?
I like the Jet Li Fist of Vengeance. You know it's a remake of the Chinese Connection, right?
Okay.
I think is very strong. I mean, I love a lot of like mid-period Jackie Chan, I guess. Wheels on Meals is fantastic. Even if it is kind of like weird about homeless people. I think this is cool.
And I more like Touch of Zen, 36 Chambers, Shaolin.
Sure.
And those are different vibes, but I like is a thing that we come together on with film, because like there's a lot of films that we both enjoy, but a lot of things where the films I like are old and boring, and it's nice to have like a genre in common like that. Horror is another one I feel like where you and I have some overlap. Yeah, I do love some good punching, kicking.
Yeah, Fake Alex Blue. It is absolutely snapping in the animations on Contact. Like when I perform light attack, if I'm close enough to the enemy and it's hitting him, it sort of snaps us both into alignment.
And I guess that's the way most games cover that. Like,
yeah,
Tekken has like tracking to a degree, right? And there's a bit of snap there.
So these random dudes, we can just kind of overwhelm them by mashing.
Nerves get the better of you.
They are here to make you feel like you are a badass more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Fake Alex Blue. If they didn't have that kind of snapping, then like you'd miss a lot of things, or a lot of like really glancing blows in a way that would be pretty frustrating for a game that you're controlling via a controller or keyboard, you know?
What does this note say?
The only realistic combat game is Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Locked until we fucking say so. You know, like there are games where like it is the precision of your limbs is kind of like the thing. You know, fighting games are definitely more like that. You also have your, what's it called? Like games like Your Only Move is Hustle, which are effectively like kind of spatial strategy games in the fighting game aesthetic, I guess I want to say.
I think because those games have a certain level of abstraction, they get away with it more.
Ow. I tried to do one of my moves that I learned during the cutscene, but the palm strike is very, very short range. It's honestly like kind of hard to use.
Just need to run at it.
Look what we have. Only a fool.
Oh boy, okay. It is like the environments are pretty detailed, and that is definitely causing some hitching. There's just a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot for the computer to render.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get like a little fancy. I want to like try to use some of the stuff. But the fact is, like they taught us, hey, you can specifically avoid high attacks by doing this, and you can here's a couple of like actual moves. But the fact is,
Open it. Open up.
when fighting these guys, it does definitely seem like by far the best thing to do is just slam on the button. Parry when a guy completes an animation, and then, you know, other than that, just be hitting light attack kind of all the time. And
Yeah.
hey, Amabel, look, it's like it's the sideways. Everybody loves
Yep.
this fucking hammer fight scene.
I mean, it's a pretty good fight scene.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
When you rise, your death counter is added to your age. So this was like the big,
Oh, is that from Old Boy? Okay.
yes, from Old Boy.
I didn't see Old Boy.
Okay, but that's still like
Okay. I'm familiar with the scene. I didn't know what it was from.
Drop your weapon.
it's like, well, listen, I've never seen The Godfather, so I didn't know they used like guns in it.
That's a No, I don't think that's a good comparison. Because first of all, this is a pretty distinctive scene, and it's okay for me not to know that that's where it came from, right?
It's not. It's against the law.
'Cause the thing is,
And I would never be with a criminal.
yeah. So I chose not to see Old Boy because I did not want to see the man eat the octopus.
Okay, sure.
So that's
I wish I had chosen not to see Old Boy.
yeah. Is it not good, or were you gonna say about the octopus?
I'm gonna probably make some people mad, but I kind of think that movie is actually very like not good. I didn't see the American remake either. I assume it's worse. But I actually don't. I don't like the original either.
There was a remake.
Yeah, they did a. They
Oh
did
boy,
a,
it's Spike Lee. Wow.
yeah, they did
Spike Lee did
they
it.
did a white people version with it's Josh Brolin, right? Is the guy?
Yeah.
That seemed like a baffling decision to me.
I don't remember the time I told Spike Lee about watching one of his films on my wedding night, and he was like, "Why would you do that?" That was pretty good.
That animation for kicking the bottle up so that I could throw it at that guy was pretty cool. So this is a standard of these like modern martial arts games, right? Like you just get into a fight with like 12 guys, and it's kind of like it's not great for you, but it's certainly not anywhere akin to the thing that this would be in real life, right?
Yeah. Robin, there's no danger of me seeing the boys, so but thank you for the warning.
Any regrets now?
Okay, see that? I'm a little pleased with that. I actually managed to I hit a guy who isn't the guy that I was attacking with an attack. I did a big kick there, and it actually did make contact with two people. That's one of the big downsides of these like very snap to animation systems, is that you're basically just like fighting one guy at a time, no matter how you're doing the thing. But okay, I'm starting to get my legs here. Yeah, the function of the way the way the dodge works, where you have to. Ooh, this guy's got power. This guy had a martial arts master and is the protagonist of his own film. Oh, he kicked my head clean off my body. Yeah, this thing where dodging attacks is a multi-button press thing that requires you to hold down a move to sort of get into dodging stance does make it way more difficult to organically dodge, and I think it's kind of interesting that it makes parries very, very easy and dodges really like slow and cumbersome. Because in my experience of actual getting into physical trouble with people, which is not like huge, but that ain't the way it is. It's the other way around. But when you consider the game as like a resource-based strategy game, parrying has cost in a way that dodging doesn't.
Have I ever told you the story about the fight I got into?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so obviously I got beat up a lot. I mean, that's obvious. We all know that.
Yeah,
but,
I was a queer kid too. Yeah.
And there's a while where my job was getting beat up. That was very strange. But in high school, I was a theater kid, and there was another theater kid who kind of sucked and everyone hated, and he stole my grandmother's doll. So we were doing a play of a Frankenstein play, and I played a small child, and I had like a little toy doll, and my grandmother gave me her doll from when she was a kid, and then this kid stole it. So I challenged him to a fight, and everyone kind of hated me, and everyone kind of hated him, but they hated him more, and they were like rooting for me. And I had a stratagem, which would be to distract him with a little dance and then kick him in the nards. And I did the little dance. What?
What?
Do a little dance, and then while he was laughing, I was going to kick him in the nards. But as I was doing the dance, I slipped on the grass and fell on my back. And then he hit me real bad, and that's how I lost the fight. That's the only. People bet on me. People bet on me, and they were mad that they lost their money.
Boy, I just broke that pipe over that woman's face. You'd think that would have more of an effect. Do you see that cool dodge? I'm learning. Very slightly.
Another jump here. I can make it.
So what do you think of this? Uh-oh.
It's
I'll have to throw you back through it.
This is a classic martial arts movie moment here. This man is bigger than other man. Okay, you avoid throws as though they are highs, even though they don't really look like... This guy's throws certainly look like you would avoid them by backing up.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sensitive to that. I can see where you might get that idea. Is anything in here weaponizable? Can I hit him with a chair? Yeah, a little bit. Oh boy. I have not figured out how to tech roll, if there's anything akin to a tech roll. It's very easy to go down and just kind of be down.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what, nerd? Alright, so every time we clear an encounter, the death total rolls back. And so if you can go a couple of encounters without dying, you can stop gaining so much age all the time.
Yeah.
And obviously you can age out of the end of the story. You have limited lives in a kind of an unusual way, I mean, as far as gimmicks go, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And this game seems pretty cool. I don't think I would be great at playing it. You know,
Whoa.
yeah. What are you thinking? How does it feel to you? How are you enjoying it?
It's okay. It's a little mushier than I might like. Owing in part to the sort of the sloppy mechanics around dodging. Like hold space for some amount of time before you press your appropriate dodge button it's just a little murky. And I'm sure, you know, it'll get to feeling that way less and less as I just get used to the timing. All right, I had pretty clean dodge there. Ow. Boy, once people commit to that jumping punch, they're just like completely unphysicsable. That looked like it would really hurt. So we're unlocking the ability. I gotta say, one thing I do not love about playing games via the Epic Launcher is the Epic achievement thing is so... Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't make noise. Don't put a thing on my screen.
Someone says that the tightest fighting game is Nidhogg.
Oh, sure.
Nidhogg.
Yeah, I mean, Nidhogg is... There is no lack of clarity in Nidhogg. I'm just kind of like walking through things. So hopping through plate glass. Do you see me just like walk at that chair and split it in half?
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Physics items in the environment are, they certainly have behaviors. Ow, well, not anymore. So one thing that is the case with the sort of the more Arkham style of combat is that there's a lot of animation canceling available. Batman can go from basically any point in an attack directly into his parries. But again, because of the kind of sort of mushy nature of the dodge mechanic, if you want to get actual avoids here, you do have to like really back off when it's not your turn. And this does in that way this does feel a lot more like a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency to just be way too aggressive, and so I'm getting my ass handed to me because I am over punching.
These will be useful.
But yeah, it's an interesting. I think this is cool. This seems cool. How's it? Is it performing a little better? I've continued to nudge things on my end.
It seems fine to me. Anyone in the chat can tell us otherwise.
Yeah, I do believe that my hair is changing color slowly as I continue to age. So let me ask you this. What do you think about... They did the old boy hallway thing, right? What do you think about the fact that it was like 40 seconds into the game? Do you feel like that is a lack of restraint? Surprise! Trying so hard to... Yeah, there we go. Trying so hard to knock him off the railing.
You know, I don't know how long the game is and what other references they have in store for us, right? So I don't know if I say lack of restraint or not, you know. You know, if it suddenly goes into black and white, and and you wear a yellow tracksuit, you know, maybe I'll say that's a lack of restraint. I don't know.
I'm not saying the presence
Okay.
of the
Yeah, but you're saying how soon it shows up,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know, sweetheart. There's certainly a way in which this is referential and metatextual to a degree. You know, and I don't think it's a problem to kind of have the famous thing early on. I mean, every fucking Sonic game I've ever seen starts with the Green Hill Zone.
Okay, I mean
Remember-
that's not the same because you know the specific reference there is that Green Hill Zone is the first zone. Like,
Okay. Oh, is the hallway fight not the first thing in Old Boy? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Again?
Yeah, so the thing Fake Alex Blue is asking, like, does it represent a one-off or will it continue as visual callbacks throughout? And I understand what you're saying is like, well, but you're doing it early on. But if you're doing it early on and there's a bunch of references,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have as much control
How
of
do
the
you-
camera here as I would like, and maybe that's a mouse versus controller thing. I can't like most 3D combat games. Yeah, fucking never ever do that. If your platform is doing that, you have fucked up.
So do you feel it's a lack of restraint?
I mean, I don't know. That's we haven't seen any other like extremely direct reference here. Obviously, there's a lot of like sort of the vague aesthetic call to like the raid and stuff like that. But nothing else that's been like a specific reference with that like level of clarity.
Nobody gets through. George stays alive.
Oh, hey everybody.
He's expecting me.
I don't think so. Only the long-haired guy visits him.
Yeah.
And we have reports that it's watchable but not necessarily smooth. It's okay during the fights but bad when roaming for the
That's interesting.
screen. Fake Alex Blue says if you had a handful of real set pieces that you wanted to show off, you'd want to make sure most people don't stop playing before they see them.
I guess so. Yeah. No, you know what? Actually, I understand the logic, but I do think like I kind of want to push back. I think there's a lot of like that's a very common way of talking about video games. We definitely you definitely hear that from like developers who say we have usage stats now, and we know that most people don't ever get past the 40% mark of our games, so we don't polish the stuff at the end nearly as much, right? But like, I don't actually think I'm not saying that that's not the way it is, but I am saying that it shouldn't be that way. I think that's a bad philosophy to approach making a thing with.
And Fake Alex Blue does say, I don't think it's good. I don't think they should do that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to attribute that to
Yeah.
this
Now,
key was not this key.
I could definitely see, like, if you're releasing a demo for this, because most games have demos these days, right? Probably there's a demo for this. You maybe put the hallway in the demo.
I don't even want to begin approaching most games have demos these days.
I don't know how...
Oh man, that's pretty cool.
Okay, well, that's magic.
Yeah, this guy's the botanist. So this will be the end of the first level here.
Okay.
We'll play through this, and then I'll jump us into something else. That was cool. That was not... I did not dodge it correctly. I don't think it was supposed to be dodged as a high. All right, the weapon helps. The weapon certainly does a lot of good work. Oh, that was neat. Okay, you know, I'm like, the longer engagements with significant solo threats, I definitely think feel cooler. They feel like they make better use of the game's systems. But, you know, also I've been playing the game for all of an hour, right? So I'm like far from an expert.
Yeah.
But yeah, like jumping over the pots and actually like managing my stamina bar versus this guy's stamina bar and trying to like step over his lows and parry stuff where I can't do any better than parry, but you know, trying to find the proper dodges in his technique. And yeah, I like it a lot better fighting large significant enemy.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, in martial arts movies, like, the scene where you're fighting a bunch of dudes, it's fine. It can be fine. But I definitely prefer the kind of kung fu duel kind of situation. The one-on-one fights are the ones that are really memorable for me.
Oh, okay. Well, no, see, this is rad. All right, well, I failed my evade there, so I'm lucky that he just fucking hard missed me with the machete. See, I'm not sure what to do when he comes across with like one of those what do you call it? Like a thrust kick, like one of those spacing kicks, because it's not a high or a low, it's right at my midsection. And it's got the glow on it. Okay, that's fun. It's got the glow on it, so I assume it's not like normal blockable, right? You want to be parrying that, or you want to be avoiding.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Am I gonna die before we beat the first boss, Amabel?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Cornflake, she did unlock a new attack in that menu previously, so she's aware.
Yeah, I'm not really playing the game in a sort of a long-term. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I dodged way early there.
Yeah, this is a lot more exploratory. Just like, what does this feel like? You know, let's learn a thing. And I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you being, because I wouldn't do that. You make me do that a lot of the time, but I don't do it on purpose.
All right, people want the focus attacks. We'll learn a focus attack. I'm just trying to like learn the dodge system more than anything. Like, I'm a lot less worried about like, can I win this boss fight, and a lot more worried about, can I be any good at the core mechanics of this game. Oh, there we go. Don't strike. Oh, look at that. We're almost through.
I have spent 8 long years preparing for this.
It's more than 8 years.
Yeah, it turns out to be more than 8 years. But if you were good at the game, it would have been 8 years. So okay, that feels like clearing the fight. Getting the achievement you get when you beat the level is called the assault, because it was like the raid in there. That was all based on the raid.
Okay.
That's the vibe.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I think that this seems rad. This seems like a cool thing to really dig into. I do not think it is quite as easy to just sort of take a scoop off the top of this as I was hoping. You know?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more in depth. It's a little bit more dig in. I'm gonna pull us back to the gas cave for a second here.
Okay.
It is not necessarily a great jumping off point for talking about the combat directly in the Arkham games, as I had hoped, because it's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit more, it's doing more stuff with the dodges and whatnot. So like, I started to say this, and then I got all caught up in the fighting and whatever. It feels like it's sort of pulling from two traditions simultaneously. Like there is the Arkham stuff, obviously, in the omnidirectional parries and the the whatever, but there's also a sort of a more FromSoft thing going on there with like the structure. I saw the game UI was calling it structure instead of poise or whatever. But this like this idea of like a technique bar that you have to you can defeat on the enemies, and it puts them in a state where you can attack them more easily or whatever. So that game is sort of merging a couple things together. I'm gonna throw.
I'm only really familiar with the FromSoft games by reputation.
Yeah.
I don't think they're your favorites.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
You have really exposed me to them.
Yeah, FromSoft combat feels pretty bad to me, and that's not me saying that I think it's bad. It's me saying that I think I grew up on like Devil May Cry style like third person character action games, and so the combat in FromSoft, the sort of like and anybody who's watched me play like modern parrying games has seen this many times. I want to go much faster than the systems want to go. And even the games that do the like telegraphed parry thing, there's like 3 full extra seconds in every attack where I'm like, oh my god, when are we getting to the fireworks factory? Right? Like I'm down to play parry or whatever. Like I love Royal Guard in Devil May Cry 3, but I want to be doing the whole thing at about 2.2x speed. How about like
So let me say two things.
Yeah.
While you pull up whatever we're gonna do next.
Also, I'm a little less enamored of the world stuff than I think a lot of people are. The particular sort of like sludgy dark fantasy take. And when I say sludgy, there
one color.
No, that's not. I mean, there's colors in those games. When I say sludgy, I mean in the sense I don't know if this is going to be clear to people, because there's a little bit of like. I realize after saying that it's a weird way to express it, but when I say sludgy there, I mean in the sense of like the difference between power metal and sludge metal. Like I want my medieval action game to have more of a power metal vibe. I want more Dragon Force, less Mastodon, I guess. I don't know if that's going to come across to anybody.
So when I said like
lots of people like Mastodon,
here,
it's not a value judgment.
The action here felt like it needed precision, or compared to like going wild. Going wild, I think is like that's the Devil May Cry stuff. My impression of it.
No,
you don't go wild in Devil May Cry. You don't do.
You got to stop saying go wild. Like there's still, like I said, there's still parry-based gameplay, and like you're still like executing combos and trying not to overcommit to animations, but it's just faster. There's the whole mechanical aesthetic of it is a lot. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more wailing guitar. It's a lot more, and part of it too is the actual like aesthetic, like the story aesthetics. Because part of the reason the Devil May Cry is like that is because it's sort of like big and fast and silly as a story. And the Dark Souls games are telling a story that is much more about like decay, right? In both literal and sort of like metaphorical ways. And so it makes sense. It's very fitting that they have this style of combat that feels more like I don't know. I don't ever want anybody to be. I don't want. Here's the thing. I don't want people to yell at me.
No one's yelling at you.
And I know people feel very strongly about those fucking games.
Alex says fluidity and responsiveness.
But I'm not even talking like I'm for real.
Okay.
It's almost entirely speed that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like again, just like play Devil May Cry 5 and play Dark Souls next to each other, and they're not really doing things all that differently in terms of like fluidity and stuff. But you have it in the Dark Souls games, you have more of a focus on, because they are slower, you have more of a focus on certain things about dodging animations, whereas in Devil May Cry,
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah,
Do you own Devil May Cry? Do you want
I
to
do.
show us Devil May Cry?
I do. Well, I'm real worried that my computer might explode. After not managing Sifu very well, I'm a little concerned.
Devil May Cry is a much older game, right?
Well, I mean, I don't have a much older Devil May Cry. No,
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I have Devil May Cry 5.
When did that come out?
It came out in like 2019. It's not like old.
I mean,
old.
that's older than Sifu.
You know what? You're older than Sifu.
That's true. That's literally true.
Okay.
About to be even older than Sifu.
I want an
Give us
Amabel
something.
diet. I see
Yeah,
Amabel. I smooch it. Wow.
Did
All right,
that come across on the mic?
That was really something. Yeah. Let me. I got this Batman running.
Okay.
It took a second. I had to do some things. Uh-oh.
What?
Host the stream.
Hi, I'm I'm
Sorry.
hosting the thing. she's having some kind of.
I kind of sort of have this
trouble.
Batman running a little bit.
But she's smiling while she's working on it, and I can see her dimples, and they're real cute.
This is what you're doing right now?
This is what I'm doing. What? Yeah.
Okay. Well said.
So the way you describe Devil May Cry is faster and it's kind of silly, and I think you're jumping around and trying not, you're canceling animations. So it's an air dasher, right? Devil May Cry is an anime fighter, an air dasher.
Devil May Cry has some significant things in common with. Well, you're trying to be difficult right now, but you are in the neighborhood.
Am I trying to be difficult, or am I
Yes,
asking
you are.
a legitimate
Absolutely,
question?
you are. I can see it on your face.
That's
You
just
think
what my
you think
face
you're
is
so
always.
You think you're such a mystery to me, but you're not. But you're not. The thing is, I know. The thing is, I know your ass. You are known to me, Amabel Holland.
Yeah, you're known to me too, Someone Bones. Your last name is so fucking cool. Everyone,
right,
it's
okay,
not a
all
cool
right.
last name. Bones.
How
That
did this all get turned around on
told
me?
She told me. She and I were flirting for a bit. We had gone on a couple dates, and then I didn't know what her last name was, and I asked her, and she told me. And I was like, "Holy shit! I need to put out for this girl right away."
All right, here's approximately some Batman. I gotta turn it up a little. Okay, so Amabel doesn't really know about the Arkham combat. In case anybody
Yeah,
was
are you
like,
gonna
"Why are
share it with me?
I am. Hold on.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. It's gonna be somewhat complicated. Here's what I'm gonna do to you. I'm gonna give you the OBS virtual cam, and I have no idea exactly what that's gonna reproduce for you.
Okay.
Because I'm having to do this game is remarkably finicky about just basic OBS stuff.
Okay. Oh, Alex, no. I mean, I already had put out for her previously, but it just, I redoubled my efforts.
Okay, are you getting that? Are you getting?
I'm getting the video.
You're not getting audio?
If there's,
You might
I'm
just
not
have
really
to, You
hearing.
might just have to live with it.
Okay, that's fine. I will.
All right. Riddler's Revenge. Okay, so we're just gonna do some. I'm just gonna show you some straight up just Arkham City ass fighting. Which Batman am I? Batman Beyond
Not
Batman.
that one. That one
1970s
sucks.
Batman.
70s Batman's good. You know, that's like the Neil Adams Batman.
Ooh,
That's pretty-
Sinestro Corps. Sinestro Corps Batman.
No, that's dumb. 70s Batman's good.
All right. So like this is like the elemental version of the form, right? And I could be showing you this in a lot of different games because there are a lot of different games that do this thing now. Here's like the basic idea. You have an attack button and you have a parry button, and the enemies light up when they're going to attack you.
Bring it on. We are gonna hurt you.
You see that? You get that big glowy effect above an enemy who has intent. And I can absolutely win this whole fight by just doing this thing over and over again. And you can see the sort of like the snap to it sort of animations. It's smoother with the parries because they've done a better job of sort of like creating parries that work at a larger variety of angles. So there's not a lot of like Batman suddenly spins to that, but you can see like when I go to melee people, like they try to hide it in having him do like a turnaround before the first attack or whatever.
Time for this. Let's make it.
Lazuli is blue because I asked her to do that. She could choose what Batman she wanted, and I didn't want her to choose the dumb Sinestro Corps one or Batman Beyond, which sucks. So I asked her to do
Also,
this one.
highly non-canonical Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond outfit. Come on, it's ridiculous.
Don't make me hurt you.
So this game has, this is just like the very most basic version of it. And as you run into more enemies later in the game, you start to run into enemies who have like attacks that signal in different colors. Because like a guy with a parry, like a guy who has a taser, you're not allowed to parry his attacks, right? So you have to figure out a different way of doing that. You can like jump over people to avoid an unparryable attack, or you can, fly across the room, or you have devices. Somebody's coming at you with a thing that you can't parry or dodge. Maybe you just hit him with a batarang real fast.
I like the part where you threw a chair at him. That was pretty good.
He threw a chair at me.
Yeah, but you caught it and threw it back at him. Is what
And
I
you can
meant.
see
That
sometimes the enemies will line up 2 or even 3 at a time will come at you at once, and you have special parry animations for clearing that out. And this is, like I said, this is sort of like the basic idea of the thing.
So here's a question I have about you. Play some Batman video games, I assume.
I have played a Batman or 2 in my time.
This is very action focused. I know there's like a Metroidvania thing going on with
Yes.
this series, or a
Arkham City and Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, the first 2 games of the series, I think have a real good Metroidvania flow to them. I think the games get a lot worse pretty quickly after that. I have not played the most recent one, but yeah.
But I just like most Batman games are action games, and I understand because he's a punching, kicking superhero man, but you don't really see like detective stuff in Batman games, do you?
You absolutely do.
Okay. Well, I haven't.
In fact, it is these Arkham games specifically that gave Batman the detective mode tools that led to the phrase Batman vision being used for any kind of like alternate vision mode that reveals clues in the environment in AAA games.
Okay.
It was very common when those newer Hitman games came out. At first, for people to call his instinct mode Batman vision, Until eventually that became well known enough on its own that now it's just called Hitman Vision usually. But
Alex, no, this isn't the Adam West Batman. That's a very different outfit. This is
this is the Adam West Batman, the 70s.
no, it
right?
absolutely is not.
Right, because it's based on the 60s show Batman.
No, sweetheart, this is something that I actually know about.
Oh,
This is not
careful
based on the
now.
66 Batman. That is very clearly the Neil Adams design.
Hold on. Let me get back to the bat select screen. We can have a look at it. I think I need to back up. Where do I select my hold on. Yeah, here it is. Okay. This is okay, so here's your 1970s batsuit.
Yeah.
Hold forth. You have the floor?
Yeah. So this is the Neil Adams design, and it's first of all, you have the elongated ears. It's a very telltale sign of this.
Mm-hmm.
You have the kind of shark fins on his gauntlets. Yeah. So the Batman 66 stuff, the Batman TV series, and the comics around right before and around that time were pretty goofy stuff. And it does have the yellow bat symbol from the New Look Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 70s, they tried to do a more serious approach to Batman. They did a redesign of the character, and they did more like detective stories. Like some of the stories that got adapted into the cartoon series, like the Jokerfish story, come from the 70s, where it has a darker, more crime and detective-based feel to it. And this is the design that you the very dynamic design that you saw in that. The Adam West Batman is it is a different design. Sure, there's some similarities that there are with any Batman design, but
it's yellow and blue and gray. It's yellow and baby blue and gray. That's what literally everyone is responding to.
Okay,
you can't. Hold on. You can't be telling
serious,
gritty stories about baby blue Batman.
Well,
that's terrible.
Why actually this is very interesting. The reason why the baby blue is because of comic book coloring limitations in the 70s. They used blue as black a lot of the time.
Okay.
So I mean that's really all that like yeah, it reads as blue now, but that's because of the limitations of comic book coloring at the time, and they used that kind of blue as a black, because the black would get really muddy and splotchy.
Mm-hmm. So here's sort of like Mutant Batman Beyond Batman, where it's clearly just like his skin. He is some kind of creature. Here you got your Earth 1 Batman, classic Earth 1 Batman. More of a Year 1 Batman. You'll notice he does not have he's not have pupils. He had not developed pupils yet. Bats don't develop pupils until their second year out of the cocoon.
Man, Batman Year 2 is crazy.
Here we have a DKR. Your classic ever more fascist Batman. There's your TAS right there.
Mm-hmm.
Looking pretty solid, I think. And then this game has entire move sets and device sets for 3 additional characters. You can play as in the challenges as Nightwing and Robin and Catwoman as well. There's a stretch of the main game that you play as Catwoman. But they pretty much added Robin and Nightwing just for this stuff. They did eventually add a sort of like a bit where you play as Robin, like a DLC thing, a little story thing. But they pretty much added Robin and Nightwing for challenge mode.
Is that
and they all
Drake
play?
Robin, do you know?
They all play approximately the same. Yeah, this is Tim Drake Robin.
Okay.
And you have, of course, your TAS Robin, Red Robin, with the steak fries.
Yeah.
This is when he had that corporate sponsorship. You can see I have played a little bit. I played a little bit more. So this game also has this game is I think these games are part of the reason that they really hit within the fandom is that they are not just action games. They're not just like Batman beat people up games, right? They are. They do the detective stuff and they do this Predator mode stuff, which I think is actually like extremely rad.
Okay.
Here, let's see if I remember how to play these. So this is my favorite shit in these games, where you are up against a large number of well-armed enemies. Say, I don't know, the Gotham PD or whatever.
We own Arkham City. Screw anyone else who thinks they do.
And the goal is to avoid direct combat as much as possible and use bat trickeries of various types to attack enemies while never becoming really visible and sort of just like driving them crazy slowly.
Okay.
Thankfully, you still have me to guide you. Without my help, you would already have lost.
I'm sure it came from over there.
Surprise!
Grenade!
I did not do that very cleanly.
Grenade!
I bailed on that before knocking him out because the other guy saw me. And I think the other guy saw me because I accidentally fell on the
We need to keep it together.
the thing there instead of falling directly onto the dude.
Understand?
So you can see, like, after you use devices in the room to scare them, they'll destroy stuff. They're responsive to your tactics in a way that I think is really rad.
Batman's finished with. I think I'm gonna have me some words with that patronizing wise-ass Riddler.
Yes, they're breaking those the little electromagnet things around the room since I used one of them.
I'll find you. Can you hear me? I'll find you.
Okay, I think I have a thought here. Let me swing back across to here. They're separated a little bit. I'm gonna jump down. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Whoosh. Check this dude out. Not seeing a lot of other people around. He's a little twitchy.
Do not let him scare you. He uses a simple
You know, this is
collection
what
of
this is
theatrical
reminding
tricks and
me
pantomime
of.
effects
Because
to
I've seen you
strike
play a lot
terror
of
into
Thief.
your tiny lizard
And I've seen you
brain.
play a little bit of,
Ah, I did that wrong. Oh, God.
Steampunk Thief. I forgot the name of it.
Thief.
Target down.
Thief is steampunk thief.
This way.
No,
You went this way.
the magic steampunk thief?
Dishonored?
Dishonored.
Okay.
Stay calm.
And
we need to keep it together and find him.
In
We lose it, we're as good
in
as
Thief,
dead,
you're more.
understand?
It's more like don't get
No,
caught
shoot.
because you're
Sorry.
gonna
You need to stay
it's
focused.
stealth because you're scared.
Yeah.
At least the way you play it.
Amabel.
Whereas Dishonored, it's like this where it's stealth and you're fucking with people. And you're
This
the
is really
predator,
not
the
good
alien.
enough, Kratos.
And I think that's
so
something
damn
that
smart.
I think that it's a really interesting distinction. You know, this is stealth as a power fantasy instead of as a challenge. Does that make sense? I mean, it's still challenging.
What happened to you?
I'm not expressing it very well, but
Hey, you're talking
I think
over
it
me
is
doing
like
all
a-
kinds of cool Batman shit. Do you see what I did to that guy?
I did. It was cool.
How are we gonna get out of here, man?
I like the way their talk turns from like, oh, we're gonna take down the big bad bat to like, oh my god, he's gonna kill us all. And you like, and it's not just talk. Like they do start to behave differently, and you can like scare as they get more frightened. You can scare them into like shooting each other sometimes, and I just think
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
these
neat.
sequences are fucking really cool. I have so many abilities that I don't even remember how they are all like, you know, how best to use them all. The Batarang's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna try to do
Cat
something here.
says that the funny thing about Thief, I've learned recently that when sword fighting a single enemy, you in fact can use the low ground to your advantage. Your tech works.
I pay you to provide a small distraction to a
Of course,
man
my
who-
tech works.
No challenge.
We saw it work.
Is so far beyond what you Cretans can understand, and is very likely to break a large number
I
of
think she
bones
means
your
in real
body-
life.
bodies.
Yeah, but we saw it work. Listen, video games are as real as anything. Okay. Yoink. Now watch this. Watch this. Here's my brilliant plan. There's 2 guys left, right? I think.
Oh, come on, Batman. Leaving these two to walk around is actually cruel. If you don't put
Oh,
them
I
in
missed.
misery, I will.
I tried to drop him on his buddy. Oh, that guy turned around at a really bad moment.
Keep up! He's this way! Over here!
How do you do this? I can't remember the
He's this way!
I can't remember the command for the down attack.
Keep up!
My plan was to just jump that dude, glide kick down onto that dude, and then, jump on him. But I don't remember how to do the jump on him.
Over here! I got him! Huh?
Eh, you ain't got
Keep
nothing.
up! He's this way! Over here! I got him!
When it's just 2 of them, obviously it gets a little bit more.
Keep up!
Hold
He's
on.
this way!
There we go. And I like the way that all of the gadgets have multiple uses and stuff. When you grab, you can use the grappling hook to grab dudes and pull them around. The batarangs do 15 different things, and
Yeah.
that's the fun stuff. So that's the combat is the thing I was supposed to be here because that's what we were supposed to be talking about.
Okay.
You
well,
saw
when
the
you
Arkham
do that-
combat. So
I
that's
did. I've seen it now.
yeah.
Yeah. I have to go to the bathroom,
Okay.
so you
So I gotta host my own stream.
host your own stream
A cruelty.
and don't cause trouble.
Can you believe?
Chat.
Can you believe
I'm
she's
gonna.
making me
If
do
she
this?
says anything that's mean about me or sweet about me, I want you to report it in chat. Thank you. I'll be right back.
It's all right. I know y'all are cool. Yeah, so we were supposed to be having kind of a conversation about kung fu movies and how they've influenced video games and how video games have sort of influenced them back in some ways, which is definitely a thing I think you can see in the sort of the more modern. There are places where you can see the influence of video games bleeding back across into movies more obviously. To use some non kung fu movie examples, although I guess I don't know. Do you consider John Wick movies to be kung fu movies? They're definitely gun as martial art, but obviously there's that sequence in John Wick 4 that is just the director saw somebody playing Hotline Miami and he was like, "Oh, that's fucking rad. Let's do a Hotline Miami." But even broader, in things like the resurgence of zombie movies after the Resident Evil games came out, because that whole 2000s zombie trend we basically owe to the popularity of Japanese zombie video games, which to some extent we owe to the popularity of American zombie movies in the late 80s. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about just sort of the basic form of a lot of video games and especially a lot of side view character action type video games, taking cues from things like Game of Death and the basic idea of fighting a bunch of enemies up till you fight the big boss is a martial arts movie conceit at its core, and it's not just martial arts video games. It's a core structure to the whole genre. But then we ended up not talking about stuff like that very much at all because Amabel has a hard time focusing. It's definitely all Amabel. None of it was me. Robin, you're doing excellent work there. Thank you very much. Yeah, see, like Fake Alex Blue. It's much more easy for me to say Equilibrium is for real a martial arts movie. John Wick, I'm a little. He definitely does. There's a lot of, especially in John Wick 3. There's a lot of like heads up, face to face martial arts stuff. Conservation of total ninjutsu is a good terminology. I don't think we are talking about like a sort of thermodynamics kind of thing. I think what we've seen is a proliferation. There's so much more ninjutsu now than there ever has been at any other time in history. This is the thing. Like the planet Earth is good at like 4 things: roaches, mustelids, crabs, and ninjutsu. These are the things that, left to its own devices, the planet will just produce ad infinitum until they consume all others. Okay. Cat of Nine Tails clarifies, I mean, within each medium, as people go down, the total ninjutsu amount stays the same, so the last guy is the toughest. Okay, I follow now. That's exactly it. There's a really specific example of this I want to say it's one of the Jackie Chan movies. Is one of the earliest. It's a video game adaptation of a Jackie Chan movie that is one of the earliest like fight lesser enemies to a sub boss then a boss type video games. It's like an arcade machine from the 80s. And it is just because it is literally copying the action sequences from the film, as best as you could in a thing that is essentially like an 8-bit video game. And I want to say that it was, what is that game called? This would be a part where it would be great for there to be an Amabel to talk while I try to type things into Google to remember. I think that the English port was called, okay, here we go. 1984 beat 'em up, developed and published by IREM for arcades, called Spartan X in Japan or Kung Fu Master in the West. Which is in fact a loose adaptation of Wheels on Meals, which is a martial arts movie that I called out before because it is very silly. So there's a whole thing with film. I don't even want to say film rights, but there's a whole thing with the way intellectual property around martial arts movies works as they bounce back and forth between China and Japan in this period, where people are just like wholesale ripping off movies and giving them different titles and re-editing them to have different plots. And so Wheels on Meals, produced in China, becomes Spartan X in Japan, and I think there's like a couple of them. I think they made sequels. And then this is a video game adaptation made by a Japanese company of the Japanese rip-off and re-edit of this Chinese martial arts movie. Kung Fu Master is probably the easiest thing for you to like look up on Wikipedia if you're trying to follow this story as I am telling it. But yeah, this is basically like the first beat 'em up and the game that sort of like solidified the whole you fight lesser dudes, then you fight sub boss dudes, then you fight boss. That's what we've been talking about the whole time, Amabel.
Okay, well, I do see a comment from
I wouldn't worry about that.
Robin. I
wouldn't stress about it. It's probably not like a big deal.
Amabel really is the worst. Oh no!
Come on now. You know I didn't.
I'm a sweetheart.
You are a sweetheart.
Purpose.
You are a sweetheart on purpose. Let's see if I am any good at this game. So, Amabel.
Yeah. Hell's Gate Extreme.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for introing.
Any of you have an itch that needs scratching?
Look, I'm Catwoman, so now I have to fight while sexy. It's a lot like the other fighting, except much sexier.
So the only thing I really... So I played a little bit of the first game on a console, and I didn't get very far. The only other thing I know about these games is I saw a edit of a cutscene where they switched the models for Catwoman and Batman.
They didn't switch the models, they switched the animations. So they had the Batman model performing the Catwoman animations.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Like, you notice one of her parries for the regular goons has her like kissing the guy. I'm like, why? Why does it?
That's gross.
It's gotta be sexy. It's gotta be so sexy because it's very important to give someone a boner when you knock them out. It makes them stay knocked out for longer because there's less blood in their brain.
Less blood, yeah. Someone named Nick DeCapua in the chat said something, which I think is unintentionally very funny. That
I don't think Nick has been here the whole time.
Has an incredible beat 'em up inspired scene which takes place in a corridor and is all done in one shot. We actually had quite a discussion about that during the main game we were playing.
Yeah, we played Sifu a bit at the beginning of the stream, and Sifu very nearly opens with a long reference to that scene. It's cool. No worries. All right, so you can see there's a guy with heavy body armor, and you have to use a special kind of attack to take them down. There we go. I remembered it. So you have to stun them, which is the thing you can only do if you have a certain amount of combo, I believe. It's like there are moves in your repertoire that you unlock by having more combo.
Catwoman's an interesting character. The development of Catwoman over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she basically started as like the anti-hero villain that Batman wanted to smooch, and kept threatening to spank. It was really kind of uncomfortable. And then, I think at this point is basically a hero who sometimes steals shit.
Yeah.
I don't keep up on the modern comics as much, but like she's become a much more complex character, and they tend to stress her doing her crimes in support of marginalized people in the underclass, and like I think that's good. I think that's cool. Also, she has a cool car.
I don't remember how to defeat these guys when you get them one-on-one. I'm whipping the shit out of him, but he's got a car door, which makes him invulnerable. You gotta stun him somehow. And I definitely have a bunch of, like, attacks that do that when you are, when you have, combo. But I don't know how to generate combo against one of these guys anymore because I've forgotten how the game works. So I think I'm gonna let him hit me to death with a car door. As always happens in comic books. Catwoman's canonical weakness. The rear passenger side door. Alright, enough of you, Nigma. But yeah, that's Catwoman. You can see Catwoman's got those animations.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way for you to share it, but I've shared with you a panel from a comic with Catwoman.
Oh, that's extraordinary. Oh boy. That's a way to make a car look on purpose. Yeah, let me Let me put this in a form that the viewers can see, because I do think that they deserve to see it.
I do good sometimes.
Sometimes, and sometimes you do this, and this is like good. The kitty car. Okay, sorry, y'all. Just a second. It's gonna.
This is very important.
It's absolutely gonna be worth it. So you love this kind of era of comics a lot. This is your shit. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that, but yeah,
Is it
like
though?
I know it's not good.
Here you go, everybody.
Yeah.
Is that the penguin saying "swell"? Let's get going there.
I'm not sure because I haven't. I grabbed this panel years ago, and I don't remember the context other than that is her car. Everyone in chat seems very excited about this.
So here's the question: is this dumber than the Batmobile? I know that the Batmobile is specifically each sort of era of the Batmobile is tuned to be a sort of like hyper representation of the way the people making the thing want you to feel about Batman. But in its own way, that's like a really silly idea, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the Batmobile. Now the Bat Ornithopter, the Batcopter is like worse, but the Batmobile is pretty silly. Yeah. I think generally any mobile is silly. You know, Green Arrow, when Green Arrow started, Green Arrow was basically just a knockoff of Batman in that he started with his sidekick Speedy and his Arrow Cave and his Arrow car.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like any of those cars are goofy, are real goofy. I think this is worse because of the paws.
Yeah, the paws are the paws are not just silly looking, but also like actually kind of a problem to the operation of the vehicle. You shouldn't have extra sharp bits sticking that far out the front of your car, just sort of dangling. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like some silly Silver Age comics. I think this might actually be Golden Age. I'm not 100%.
In order to share this, I did put it into my images folder, and I'm looking at my images folder now and the things around it as it has been titled. And like some of them, I don't know what they are, but I'm afraid to double click on them because I'm afraid they will open right here in the middle of the screen. But this I believe is one of my favorite comments that I've ever received on YouTube.
Okay. I remember this comment.
This was the face reveal video. The first time I ever showed my face on YouTube. This somebody said this, and I have used just LGBTQ person as a profile text on multiple services since. It's true. I am just LGBTQ person, and I do think that if you look at me, that's like probably the first thing that comes to most people's mind.
Now, that's like one of the 2 times you've done a face reveal on your channel.
Well, I mean, I've shown my face since. It's not a reveal. It's only a reveal the first time. That's what the word reveal means, Amabel.
Did you have this cool haircut the first time, though?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. It changes your face. It's a different face.
I'm not 100%. What is this? Okay. I don't remember the context around making this. But but the thing about DMX is I'm gonna let you recover and cool down. Don't try to drink something right now. Are you insane? She's lost her damn mind. I'm just gonna play some Batman while you recover. Looks a little bit like the
Sweetie,
Pride Parade I was at last weekend. Yeah.
I threw up my back from laughing.
Well, don't do that.
I'm so old.
So here's Robin. This is bow staff Robin. There's a lot of cool bow staff animations. I think like there's sort of a polite fiction that we engage in when we engage in Batmanity. That the Batman does the things he does to people without killing them or permanently harming them. And I think that polite fiction gets harder to sell when you use the bow staff.
Yeah.
I didn't knock that guy out. You're gonna wish I had knocked you out. There we go. Yeah, when you crack a dude across the face with the thing like that, it's just like his skull, right?
Yeah.
It's retractable. Not really a huge reason for it to be retractable, except that it's cool. So I know that when you get to a certain level of combo, you could disable people's weaponry. There's a button you can press to do like a weapon destruction takedown. Also, that apparently is a move I have. And there's some cool positional takedowns and stuff, like you saw there. Ow. Ooh, right in the kidneys. That's gonna... Yeah, that guy's dead for sure. That guy's gonna have some blood toxicity problems in the near future.
I did discover the context.
The context?
Yeah, you'll see it later.
Okay, is this good? Are you doing good television right now?
I'm good. I'm letting you know there's something good for later. I am building suspense and anticipation in the viewers that you can either deliver on or disappoint them as you see fit.
Did you see me wrestle the box out of that guy's hand and let it drop on his head? That's pretty funny.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So yeah, for my money, this is basically like the best this combat system ever gets. They continue to add like little animations to it and stuff over time, but you know, in the further games. But I think this is like, it's got a good mix of like complexity and different weapons that behave different ways with different enemies, and also Tim Drake Robin, which I think is just like, I'm making fun jokes about like how I don't necessarily think it's a good idea for him to be running around with this weapon if he's supposed to be the thing that he is, which is to say, not a stick murderer. But I do think it's an objectively very cool looking combat style.
Yeah. And see, I'm used to, because, you know, when I was reading Batman comics, that was like the 90s and early aughties. So I'm used to Tim Drake being like more of an actual teenager instead of like a buff dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he did look really fucking cool with the stick. Because he was not like a powerhouse. He was more of a thinking, detecting kind of person. The stick was like a necessary element of his self-defense. We have a question from the chat. Okay. What's your opinion on Mad Max variation of this combat system? I
did not play that Mad Max game, is what I will say to that. It looked fine. I think my opinion on it is that it looked fine, and that's so I didn't actually play it. There's a lot of like AAA, a lot of sort of I don't know how to put this that isn't going to sound like I'm being a hipster about it, and it's not my intent. I think we can call it. We're good on this, right? We get the idea.
Yeah, we got this.
All right. There's something about the way that a lot of AAA games kind of look and play that just kind of slides right off of me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something I like about
I don't
you.
get too much interest. I couldn't really even tell you why.
Yeah, something I like about you, sweetheart, because I meet a lot of people. I make a lot of friends. And a lot of people have terrible taste in games or just very normal taste in games. And I like that you're not that in ways that are complementary to the ways I am not that. It feels really rare, and I really enjoy that.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, I don't think I actually said that. I think you took something I said out of context to make a joke, and then you took time and energy to make another joke based on your joke because you thought it was so funny.
Yeah, this is shareable. I can produce this for the folks.
Hi, Andra. Andra just showed up, so you need to keep the stream going, sweetie.
Okay, well, here's this. Here's the original. Apparently, this is something that I posted on Blue Sky because Amabel. We must have been talking about DMX, and I don't know why we would have been talking about DMX, but I can absolutely hear the phrase "dog-based furries" in your voice in my head. So, I think this is something you said. But yeah, so it was Amabel's fault. The point is, it was Amabel's fault.
Both things are.
Yeah, when you get right down to it. So as you can hear, we're both still a little coffee. I am recovered from whatever I had. I think at this point I'm just having an allergic reaction to summer.
Yeah.
Summer's bad, y'all. Thumbs down.
I'm mostly recovered. Like I was able to actually record some voiceover this morning and not hate it. It was really difficult the last couple months, having to do some promotional videos or video essay work and like recording the like, oh, I don't like the way I sound, but how long my voice going to be like this,
Mm-hmm.
Different kind of coffee, Alex.
Let me see something here. You keep going. Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
Keep it going. Yeah,
because then you'll stop talking.
So right now I'm looking at the cool Marie Enger art of the gas cave with the blood wheel, which I still haven't seen the blood wheel in person. I have been told it is somewhere in the house, probably in a box.
Yeah, it's in a box, almost certainly in this closet, in our bedroom.
I would love to see the real blood wheel. I would like to touch it. I know that's forbidden. I know that it's danger.
I really don't think it's a good idea.
It exists, Alex. Yeah, it exists. It was in one of her series. Like you physically showed it in your series, right?
Yeah. So okay, so this is the thing. Let me talk for a second about what a fucking brain genius I am. The blood wheel is a gag from the third time I played BattleTech, the third BattleTech campaign series on the channel, and it's a gag that you have to get like 60 episodes into the series before it even happens. And then there's a bit where I introduce a system for adding random challenges to the missions because it was getting a little bit stale. So I was just trying to like juice up the gameplay a little bit, keep it interesting. And I did a bit, as I sometimes do. I made I guess you could call it a short film. It's like a couple of minutes long, where I introduced the blood wheel, And so I made a physical blood wheel prop because I shot this. It is the premise of the idea is, you know, I used a Wheel of Fortune style wheel to do a thing, and of course in the actual series, I'm using one that's just like a web page, right? Because of course that's how you would do it. But I thought it would be funny if, to introduce that idea, I pretended that I had intentionally intended to build a real physical one. And so there's the video of me trying to get a real physical Wheel of Fortune to work. But it because I am clumsy and bad at physical objects, cutting myself on it so many times that it absorbs my blood and becomes a cursed object. And so, you know, there's this shot of my hand fucking covered in Band-Aids, trying desperately to spin the wheel still because I haven't quite got it right yet. And yeah, so that's the genesis of the blood wheel bit. And then I make references to it every so often, you know, like in the anytime I need to create a religion, right? We are the disciples of the blood wheel, except in Civ, where the canonical religion is giant crab time, of course. But yeah, I don't like it, but because it's 60 something episodes deep into the third time I played the BattleTech game, which was like 4 or 5 years after that game came out. Probably the number of people who have actually seen the origin of the blood wheel gag is it's quite low.
Yeah.
I put so much effort into that. There was there was a whole day of prop work and shooting for a 3-minute gag that nobody saw.
Yeah, to be clear.
And I knew that. While I was doing it, I knew that. I knew it was going to be that.
You have lore. You have lore and runners and gags on your channel, but they're always buried like real deep into a series.
Well, very often the genesis of them is something broke and I feel bad. And so I put extra effort into fixing it, like that time that episode of Hades where I ran out of hard drive space recording during a cinematic, an important cinematic, and so I finished the cinematic myself.
I love that so much. I clipped a video of that and put it on my Blue Sky to try to share it with more people.
Yeah,
because how much I love it.
Yeah, and nobody saw it because the thing about my humor is it repels human attention. There's some sort of mystical property where it drives views away.
I mean, me too, really.
Oh, that's very.
No one thinks my jokes are funny.
That's very sweet of Robin Bennis to bring up the dinosaur from the Curious Expedition. I thought that was very fucking funny. I don't know if anybody else did. Apparently, it stuck with you at least, which I really do appreciate. We're getting audio lag on a bunch of stuff. My computer. I gotta fix my computer. Yeah, there's a small amount of audio lag on a variety of things, and yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, and you need a new processor. How much could a new processor be? $10?
Yeah. It's just like a banana, right? Yeah. Can I tell you one of the ones that there's an episode of, I guess it must be Doom Eternal. I was having this intermittent problem where my microphone would just disconnect from OBS, but it wouldn't, like, I want everybody to understand that I am not like, my work is not slipshod in the sense that it's not like I'm not paying attention. I feel like shit breaks in my recordings all the time, like this thing with the audio desync, right? But like, it's not because I don't care or I'm not paying attention to the, like, if I listen to the audio playback in my monitors while we're recording, it sounds fine. Like, OBS does weird shit on the back end after it shows you what it's doing. So like, there was this period where I was having a problem. I don't know what was wrong and I don't know why it stopped. So that's fun. But there was this period where I was having this problem where sometimes the microphone would stop recording to the file, but it would still show the microphone as recording, and you could still hear it in the monitor audio. In OBS, there was no way to know when it had happened until you were done with the recording already. Super fucking fun. It happened about halfway through a Doom Eternal episode, and so I inserted a bit where it was like I had sat on the remote control and changed the audio track during the recording, and I recorded a new audio track that was like the director's commentary for the episode, for the back half of it. That stuff's fun. I like being creative, but I feel like first of all, it's almost never worth it in terms of the time. It's if you want to, like, I feel horrible having said that. If you want to look at it in like a purely capitalist kind of sense, right? It's almost never worth it. It doesn't generate enough extra value on the back end or whatever. That's horrible. That's a horrible way to reason through it. But also, like, usually what inspires me is that I broke something. Something's bad and it's my fault, and now I need to make it up to you, the viewer. That's usually where the inspiration from my heart comes from. Is, oh no, I screwed you. I gotta make it right.
I like what you do and the way you do it.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
I think people in chat probably feel the same way.
I have to say, I'm like buoyed by the fact that somebody remembered the Curious Expedition thing. And like the other thing I think I will say is, like, it is hard to, because we had this conversation not that long ago when we were talking about the Game of the Year videos.
Right.
Game of the Year stuff coming soon, TM. We were talking about, like, Amabel likes when I do bits, when I write stuff, and do bits in my Game of the Year stuff, and I like it too, but like, it's a lot of hours to do the thing I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
and it can be very challenging to find the time to come up with a bit and then refine it like that. So, like, specifically, Amabel was talking about the time loop joke in the Game of the Year video where I was talking about Stuck in Time
for 2021.
Yeah.
But
there's a joke in there about how bad 12 minutes turned out to be, and how not just disappointed but actually angry it made me. That's like funny, but it's a throwaway gag that's entirely in audio. I didn't have to record any new video footage for it or anything, and it probably added 2 days to the production time of that video, with me like timing it and retiming it and then like rewriting the wording for the bits. And
yeah, it takes a lot of, and you know, you're able to do bits off the cuff in ways that I can't. You know, like I in order for me to have something that's actually presentable, I have to write it ahead of time. I have to write it and edit it and put the time in. You do that stuff, but you also can do it without, and it's easier for you and not as taking up as much of your time, because you do a tremendous number of hours of video every week.
I try.
Yeah, so like, I want to be clear. I'm not like trying to push her to do scripted stuff. I appreciate her ability to do it, but I'm not trying to push her to do something on top of the 20 hours of video and the 2 to 3 hour stream she does every week.
And to be clear, I would be given total control, like not needing to worry about money or anything. I would prefer to spend more time working on the written type stuff, but it's really hard to if I spend 20 hours doing Let's Plays, I'm going to come out of it with about 20 hours worth of Let's Plays, right? If I spend 20 hours, coming up with and writing and doing these more complicated bits, the actual output of that's going to vary so tremendously from week to week. And
right.
Yeah, I would like to do more of that kind of stuff. I just don't know. I don't know how to make it feel like I'm not shorting people by trying and failing a lot. And then also on top of that, like yield does produce money,
Yeah.
The Google AdSense robot doesn't know or care whether or not the content's good. It just knows how much of it there is.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the Patreon money, and the Patreon money is like literally life-saving. But I do still make a significant portion of my income from just raw yield ads, because I just put out so many videos per week. So there is that that I have to consider, unfortunately.
No, I do absolutely understand that, because if you look at my professional work, okay,
that was me. By the way. Don't worry about your computer. I'm making Windows noises over here, and I don't want people to think their computer's acting up.
I've had 80 plus games published, and I do put a lot of work into each of them. I do put a lot of I do want to try and make them as good as possible. But part of why I make so many games is the more games I have out, the more games I am going to sell. The more money I'm going to make. Whereas if I'm doing like one game a year, I can't live on that.
Yeah.
I have to do so many games. I have to do so many games a year in order to have the money to live on, which is not a whole lot. I'm basically living with you rent free, other than I buy some groceries.
Yeah, you buy all essentially. Hold on, we're not. Maybe we're not doing our financials on the.
Right. Sorry. But I'm saying, I understand, capitalism sucks. That's my hot take. Capitalism sucks. UBI should be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's weird, just poor people brain or whatever. I don't mean to be oh, we have to keep it a secret, but I don't. First of all, I don't want people to feel like I'm begging. And secondly, secondly, I just it's our financial situation is what it is.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Queer people in America not doing so great overall. Trans people have a tendency to be pretty fucking dirt poor. And although we both work jobs that I think a lot of people would consider to be dream jobs in some way, and to be clear, I do still, even though I make the amount of money that I make, consider this to be a dream job, especially in the sense that I have serious neurological difficulties pulling a 9-to-5, and this is a thing I can do, right? Having control of your own time is fucking rad. It's great.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, we're broke. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm sorry. I don't talking about money. It makes me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
It's okay. It's okay.
But I understand that that's why your work takes the form it does.
Yeah.
That said, people want to be cool at those Caves of Cud people.
A huge part of the reason that I'm doing this is that this is the only thing I can do. I flunked out of real life in every way possible.
And if anyone watching this is the Caves of Cud people and want to give her money to do tutorial video, I'm sure she wouldn't be opposed to that.
I am available for services. I don't love asking for charity, but I am available for services. If you need copy editing or voiceover work or
yeah, actually, your voiceover work is fantastic. You've done voiceover for several of my video essays.
Thank you, sweetie.
Without pay, including some character work.
Yeah, I should
You
get that
know?
NordVPN sponsorship. I gotta get to start doing sponsor reads in the middle of my Let's Plays. Boy, we took down that enemy pretty easily. But I bet it would have been even easier if we were using NordVPN. The giant crab legs thing, right? So I tried to hook up with some companies. I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I got that BenQ monitor light thing. They didn't pay me. They gave me the light, to be clear, and that was what we agreed on. I'm not trying to say they ripped me off. But yeah, I did that BenQ monitor light ad, and I sent that back to them, and they just fully ghosted me. I posted it and I was like, is this like, how do you feel about this? Is this the kind of thing you wanted? Just never got a response. Never heard back from BenQ ever again.
And that by and large is the best BenQ ad that there ever has been.
Thank you, sweetie. I liked it a lot. The monitor light's pretty all right. Like,
yeah,
it does the thing. It fully does the thing.
You know what that reminds me of, though, sweetheart?
What's that?
Something I enjoyed this week.
Something you enjoyed this week?
Yeah. Is it that time?
It is
Are
that
we in the
time.
post
It is that time. We're in the post stream.
Yeah,
we've
been for some reason, and then
we've been in the post stream, and it's fucking
okay.
I don't know what we're doing. I'm not running a very professional ship here. I'm trying to like diagnose my computer problems and stuff.
So the thing I saw is I saw a bunch of commercials directed by Don Adams, and you know what? They were fun. So I came across these Don Adams commercials for complicated reasons, and I was like, why is the voice of Tennessee Tuxedo in these commercials? Because of course the first thing I think when I think of Don Adams is Tennessee Tuxedo,
which is the thing, that everybody knows about and is definitely real.
And I was like, why isn't he all these toy ads? You know, and it turns out that Don Adams started his own advertising agency after Get Smart, and he directed some pretty funny commercials. So I think commercials as a form, not my favorite form of media, you know, of art, I guess. But I don't know. I thought I was amused by those. They're right up there with finding out about Brian Wellness. So I don't know. Search Don Adams Skittle commercials. Skittle, not the candy, but the line of toys.
Sorry, what?
Just what I said?
What is this? What is this?
What part of that was unclear?
The Skittle line, the whole thing, really.
So there was Skittle Pool, Skittle Poker, Skittle Tac-Toe, a whole bunch of
Skittle Tac-Toe. But do they use the candies, or what are we talking about here?
No, so British people call bowling Skittles for no reason.
What?
And so
is that real?
It's a bowling related game where you have a ball on but it's like a table bowling. But then they also did a pool version. Okay, yeah. Andra is clarifying. We call the pins Skittles. So there's Skittle Pool, which is a billiards game with Skittle ball on a string. There's Skittle Tac-Toe. There's Skittle Poker. Whole Skittle Baseball. There's a whole line of them.
So I looked up Skittle toys on the internet here, and it looks like generally the pins are colored. They're like rainbow colored. There's like a red pin and a yellow pin and an orange pin. Is this where the candy, like, are Skittles the candy, little colorful candies because Skittle pins are little colorful pins? Or what relation have these things? You unleashed this information on me, Amabel, and now you must be held to account for it.
Can we, if I give you a link,
yeah,
can you play the commercial?
I can, yeah, I can do that.
All right, let me. Where is the?
Yo, Wikipedia says the first sentence of the Wikipedia article about Skittles (parentheses confectionery) is Skittles are multicolored fruit-shaped, lentil-shaped candies. They're lentil-shaped candies. Would you ever in your life have thought to describe Skittles as being lentil-shaped?
I would not.
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, what a strange thing to do.
All right, so I've given you the.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
You know, it's not fucking monkeys pulling levers back.
We spend so much time figuring out what we're going to do on the stream, and then the streamers that you watch just watch random YouTube videos. And I'm just saying, it could be a lot easier.
Yeah, it could be a lot easier. You could put that shit on my tombstone. All right, here we go. This is Skittle Pool Game, Don Adams, Aurora Toys.
Play? I came to play Wisconsin Skinny. That's me. What's your game? Skittle Pull. You hustler? Nope, salesman. Break. Salesman, huh? What do you sell? Skittle Pull. Skittle Pull by Aurora. It's a lot of fun.
Wow. I mean, that's an entertaining, it's an entertaining ad. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Check out all my YouTube recommendations.
I enjoyed those. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It's embarrassing that it recommends. It's embarrassing that it recommends my own stream to me. That makes it look like I watch my own content. Okay, that was weird. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. What do you? I didn't do much this week. So I didn't. What did you watch? What did you?
So they said Skittle Pool. And the balls are, I think the color of the Skittles, it feels to me, I don't have any facts, but the feeling I have is that the color of Skittles comes from this. And so I'm choosing now to believe that. Yeah, Skittles do come from Britain. They were first introduced by Jack Candies, a British distributor for Mars Incorporated.
Can I tell my Mars story?
Sure.
So a fun thing about M&Ms is that one of the Mars brothers hated peanut M&Ms and kept trying to get rid of them, and they had to be. And people keep saying, "No, you can't do that." Everyone loves them. We sell so many of them. He's like, "I don't like them. I want to get rid of them." No, that's the whole story. I think it's just very funny. He's like, why do people like these? Let's get rid of them. Like, no, why would you do that?
Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk.
I'm not his team.
I know, and I'm not giving you anything to work with here because I'm just fucking reading the Skittles Wikipedia entry now. This has been a hell of a show. I'm sorry, everybody. All right. Yeah, my turn. Hold on, let me look at the chat. What do people got in the chat? Kyle Smith says Skittles are M&M shaped. Strong argument. Hard to argue with. The Wikipedia page for Skittles (sport) is wild, reports Fake Alex Blue. I try not to get involved in sports stuff as a trans woman. It never ends well. I suspect I have a biological advantage at Skittles. Nothing? Okay. It's Amabel's turn to no-sell me. Let's see here. We got, somebody said a game. Underspace. Underspace is fun, is what I'm hearing. The spiritual successor to Freelancer with a Lovecraftian sandbox RPG twist. That's a wild description for a video game. It's very difficult to imagine that being... When they say Lovecraftian, it looks to me like what they mean is there's big space serpents. I think that we need to have the word Lovecraftian taken away from us.
No, that makes
as a people. I will say this. That's legitimately fucking horrifying. If you look at the Steam store page, just like there being a great big space lizard, it combines everything that I am afraid of about outer space with everything that I'm afraid of about being deep underwater. I legitimately am not sure that I could play this game. It's horrifying to me. But it looks rad. And there's a demo. You can demo it right now. It's early access. Okay, what else?
That's because every video game has a demo.
And no video game is finished. You remember when they used to release video games before they sold them?
This would be a good question for when we do our Game of the Year thing. Like, when does a game come out? Because
I generally assess games based on the release, like when they say they are 1.0. There have been some exceptions. I definitely gave Hades Game of the Year twice, and I think I was right to do it. The amount of stuff that came out in Hades that first year that it came out was better than everything else that came out, and then the next year that was also true.
So if a game comes out and then like there's a big patch with a lot of extra stuff in it, like a year or two later, would you put that on the Game of the Year list again, or
maybe if the new stuff was such a big
okay,
maybe. Bas Van Duren Dun Hollander is saying tentative recommendation of Battle Train. The game is called Battle Train. That's a strong name. Ooh, okay. There's some stuff going on here aesthetically that I like already. A run-based roguelite deck and track builder set in the world's most explosive game show. You know, I am sick of roguelite deck builder. I think that's fair to say. I think nobody's gonna be shocked to hear me say that. And what I would like is to call back some of those elements for the most part, but you could absolutely solve the problem by just going the other way and just making it denser and more insane until the thing is creaking under the weight of its own premise. And I like that seems to be where they've gone with this. I might give this a try. Let's see here. Andrew Dunn played the Still Wakes the Deep DLC Siren's Rest and thought it was fine. The main game was better. Well, okay. Sergio says, I recently replayed Hyper Light Drifter. It is really good. I played Hyper Light Drifter for the first time not that long ago, like last year, I think. And yeah, it lived. It's the thing everybody said it was. If you like a sort of a Zelda-like kind of, yeah, Hyper Light Drifter is still very, very good for sure. Let's see here. Andrew Dunn agrees that people overuse Lovecraftian incorrectly. Robin Bennett says, yep, we've abused the privilege. Also, he was a huge racist, which is extremely true. Holy shit.
Yeah.
One thing that drives me kind of crazy, and I'm so glad we're starting to see more pushback against this now. One thing that drives me crazy is when a person from the past is racist and people like rush to like let them off the hook and be like, well, you know, it's the past. People, it was more accepted then. And like, no, No, we knew it was bad then, and Lovecraft is actually a really specific, great example of that, because we have a lot of letters from his contemporaries that were written to him telling him to knock that shit off. A lot of like very specific, very pointed, hey, what the fuck is wrong with you type letters.
Yeah, you know, when I did my game about the debate over slavery in the United States and you know, before the Civil War, like, I read a lot of material, and it like, people are very clear this is a bad thing. It was not some really hotly disputed thing. It's just people just wanted a way to get away with being terrible.
Yeah, it's not like 1860 rolled around and all of a sudden we discovered that it's bad to own people. Like,
no, like people knew, just like people know today, and I don't want to get
Total War Warhammer. Andra Dunn says Total War Warhammer is pretty good. You know, I agree. I think I agree with that. Harry Watkins says South of Midnight is a work of art. It seems. Can I tell you? I don't know how to say this without sounding like shitty about it.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna like try to express what's in my heart here, and hopefully it's okay. We decided not to cover a couple of games on the channel. We stopped our coverage of Avowed, and we did not pick up South of Midnight or the new Doom game because Microsoft and the Xbox Game Studios in particular got added to the BDS, the Palestine boycott list, like right at that moment, right when those games were coming out, and I felt actually kind of conflicted about it with South of Midnight in particular, because it feels like it's such a fucking man. I think it's important that we not, that we try to like link arms, right, and stick with the boycott. But I sure would, for very selfish reasons, I sure would love it if Microsoft would get their shit together, because I really want to play South of Midnight.
Yeah.
It seems fucking, it seems rad. I don't know. I don't know how to tell anybody else to feel about any of this stuff, because I do think it's very complicated, and yeah, it's like it's all everything. I think there's a lot of ways to argue this from a lot of different sides. We are doing the thing that we, talked about, and we ended up here, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't. I'm not judging anybody who's in the chat right now. that's what I'll say. Yeah. I'm not judging anybody who's in the chat right now. Anyway, so me, I was going to recommend stuff. Hey, Amabel.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Crane Wives? I think I have talked about the Crane Wives once or twice before, but I'm going to talk about the Crane Wives now because I fucking feel like it. They released a new album. Recently. It's called Beyond the Beyond, I believe. It's been a while. It's been a while since they put the last one out. Fox Lore came out in 2016, and it has been that long since they put out a new thing. The new thing is called Beyond Beyond Beyond, not Beyond the Beyond. But yeah, the Crane Wives, they're like a folk rock. I don't really know how to describe their music. It's like alternative rock, folk, indie. It's kind of like that, that Southern Gothic sound that I like. It's a little Brown Bird, but it's they're flexible. They do a variety of things. But yeah, and they're a sort of kind of local band. They're from Michigan, at least. Grand Rapids. Okay. It's not like close, but but yeah, I think they're rad. The new album's good. A lot of their older stuff also super, super good. So that's what I've been listening to, a lot of Crane Wives. I bought a plastic video games guitar for playing plastic guitar video games, because they are making those again. And so I guess I can give that a little bit of a shout too. The thing I bought is called the Riff Master. Sorry, Riff Master. Riff like a guitar riff master. You know what? I look semi-presentable. I'm gonna just fucking... How do I put self on screen for... Hey, Amabel, you might be on screen a little bit.
Okay, yeah, let me just fix up my hair a little bit.
I'm gonna hold up my guitar for chat.
Okay.
Is my brilliant plan here, so.
Everyone in chat is so excited. I'm not saying you need to put your face on screen more often, but I know I get excited.
Please don't look at the mirror. The mirror is so dirty. Hi everybody. But yeah, this is my new plastic guitar. It's black. I bought the one where it's black and the details are also black because I'm me. But you know, it's a Rock Band guitar, right? It's one of these. It's got the, you know. So they are making these new. This company PDP is making $150 sort of classic style Rock Band guitars. There's another company that actually will have a competing product out in a couple of months, in mid-August, I believe, called the something else. It's got a different name, but yeah, it is the season of electronic instruments again, and so I've been playing Yarg, yet another rhythm game, which is one of the free Guitar Hero type clones on the internet, and that's part of what got me like listening to a lot of Crane Wives again. I was thinking like I would really love to, like, these would be good songs for Rock Band in the sense that they're not super difficult, but the parts are actually interesting and varied, and the vocals would be fun, and they're mostly in my range. But sadly, not a lot of people, you know. There's a lot of focus on like very fast carpal tunnel type songs in the free Guitar Hero tracking community. Yeah, tricky to navigate, tricky to find the other stuff. Yeah, Andredon says, I genuinely had no idea they were still making these. They weren't. They were super hard to get. Nobody was making them for quite a while. And they were super hard to get a hold of. And they started to get really expensive on the secondary market. And this company... let me go back to the display capture here. This company, PDP, started producing them again pretty recently. And then, like I said, there's another thing coming out in a couple of months, a more sort of Rock Band style. Yeah, but these are good. They do the thing. They're not the cheapest thing in the world. I splurged a little bit, but yeah, they're rad. I've been enjoying that a lot too. It turns out rhythm games, they're still good. I don't know why we, like, as a society, we decided we were done with them. They were no longer profitable or whatever. We stopped making them entirely, but that sucks. That shit sucks. I love these games. Boss Ventura and Hollander says, speaking of rhythm games, Unbeatable looks amazing from the trailers. Unbeatable is like the #1 game that I am bummed out that we didn't get to during Steam Next Fest, because I agree, Unbeatable does look it looks very cool. It's out fairly soon, right? I think we're pretty close to release. It just says 2025 on the store page. But yeah, video games coming out 2025. Unbeatable looks really exciting. I'm hopefully going to play it on the channel. Mute Wolf says, any board game recommendations? What are y'all playing lately? We have not picked up a lot of new board games. We're still playing a lot of Great Western Trail New Zealand, which I think is the best of the Great Western Trail games. I love it very much. And honestly, like, we've talked about it. We've talked about trying to bring live board game play to the channel a little bit. We're pretty unhappy with a lot of the digital solutions that exist for that at the moment. And we have really fucking cool physical board games that we would love to play, but it is a little bit of a was a little bit of a pain in the ass from a logistical standpoint. So no promises, but it's something I would like to do. And it aside from Great Western Trail, the South Tigris games, especially Scholars of the South Tigris, that's my kind of jam, and Amabel plays a lot of them. I think because they're my kind of jam, and she's very sweet.
Well, I mean, I do enjoy, like, there are like 2 games that you had me play where I've been like, no, I'm not doing this again. But otherwise, like, they're usually pretty good.
Yeah, you did not like Curious Cargo.
Curious Cargo did not care for it, no. That wrapped my brain around it.
Wolf says they picked up Dwellings of Eldervale recently, and it's excellent. I have to admit, I'm a little disconnected from what's going on in board game stuff because I spent some money on some Kickstarters. I spent some money on a Kickstarter, and then there was another one, and then there was another one, and then before I knew it, I had spent very too much money on Kickstarters, and I was like, I need to back the fuck up. And so I have been sort of intentionally steering myself away from board game stuff to avoid wanting to spend more money, at least until the Kickstarter stuff comes in. Oh wow, okay, so I just looked up Dwellings of Eldervale on Board Game Geek here. Let me just go ahead and reflect this to the stream. Without knowing anything about the rules or anything, aesthetically, this shit is very appealing to me. This is a very cool looking game. Yeah, look at the number of components on that table. Amabel.
Yeah, no, I know what
look
you're
at
like. I know what you're like.
There's a map. There's a modular map. Oh my god. Yo, this looks fucking sick. Honestly. People are very amused at how resigned you sounded there. So like I backed the Kickstarter for the expansion for Darwin's Journey, the expansions for the 3 South Tigris games, and the so there was a board game that came out probably close to a decade ago originally at this point called Rococo, and it's just it's a game about dressmaking. And I really like it. I think it's great. It's super hard to get a hold of. Eagle Griffin went and did a reprint of it last year or the year before, but they did it in this like super deluxe box. It's like the only way you can buy it new is this like $160 super fancy version that I just don't. It's not one of those games, right? Like there are some games where component wise, it's $160 because that's what it is. But Rococo doesn't need to. It's just like a handful of cards and some tokens. Like the original printing of Rococo was like a $40 or $50 game, and that's really what it should be. But the Rococo people designed a new thing, Patisserie Rococo, that I also backed. I'm very excited to receive it because I think Rococo is quietly like one of the best games I think I've ever played. It's not doing a lot of hugely hugely innovative stuff, but just like the way that it combines the pieces. Yeah, the original printing of Rococo was 2013. The way it combines the pieces, the worker cards and the buying resources and whatnot, it's like quietly brilliant. I think it's really, really, really good. So if you have a chance to play it, I would like super recommend it, especially if you like, these kind of like mid to heavy Euro things. Amabel, you have sent me. What have you sent me?
That you had advertisement for. You mentioned the Rococo being so expensive, and it is, to be clear. But this is
something else entirely.
This is $2,200.
Let me turn off that text scroll real quick here for clarity. So what is this? This is a Lord of the Rings game called The Confrontation.
Yep.
sculpted and hand-painted 3D game board integrated into a heavy-duty wooden box. I mean, that is some nice terrain. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. But
Elegant
you're not-
3D relief side panels illustrating the epic tale of the Lord of the Rings.
That's too much, though. That's too...
It's fucking, yeah, it's
obscene.
They went ahead and they went ahead and committed to the thing. These game pieces with like the carved Stratego fronts and the inset characters on the back, these are really nice. That's extremely fucking cool looking. Yeah, oh boy. I would never buy this. Even if I had the money, I would never buy something like this. I could never bring myself to spend that much money on something like this. But I get it. This is beautiful. Anyway, sorry. The stream is just now. It's just now zombifying.
Yeah. Why don't we call it?
I suppose we could go do something else.
Yeah. I need to.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So yeah, that's gonna be it for us for today. We were gonna talk about kung fu movies and stuff, and I think we kind of, sort of did a little bit.
Yeah.
This one fully got away from us, and I'm blaming me. So that's gonna be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for being here, for sharing the things that you love with us, so that we can all find things that we love as well. Fake Alex Blue says, something I did this week, which isn't a media. I went to an Iranian restaurant with family because it was delicious, and if you've not tried Persian food, I would recommend. I don't know that I've ever had Iranian specifically. The area that we're in Michigan is very... there's a lot of Middle Eastern immigration to this area. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of Middle Eastern food in general. And I've had a few different... I don't know that I've ever had Iranian specifically, though.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Lebanese, but I haven't.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're not familiar with sort of Middle Eastern food, especially like Middle Eastern like takeout style, you should get familiar. This
real good.
This is real good. All right. Yeah, we're gonna go. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a good rest of whatever is left of your weekend. Try your best. The world is a very difficult place right now, and it is becoming increasingly dangerous for a lot of us. Just do what you can, and, most importantly, keep making it through. So come back, later this week, there's going to be more videos. Next weekend, there's going to be another stream. Right? Yeah, we're still streaming next weekend. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So come back for that stuff, and we'll see y'all then. Peace. As much as you can find.